Okay, tonight was the Fastlane pay-per-view for the WWE. Wasn't the biggest fan of it. It had some okay stuff in it. Most of it was very predictable. And I was going to actually go through some of the things that was on it. You had Luke Gallows, Carl Anderson versus Enzo Amore and Big Cass. Enzo, Big Cass, great coming to the ring, all the whole thing with certified G, bonafide stud, and this Big Cass, 7 foot tall, can't teach that. Yeah, great. If you're a wrestling fan, you probably like that. It's actually really cool. I like it. He's a good talker. But I didn't like the match. I I was like, okay, I understand they're trying. I think they're trying to build up Luke Gallows, uh, Gallows and Anderson, how you want to call it, whatever you want to call. I just didn't like it. It was a very typical style tag team match to where the heels won. So that's why I didn't like it too much. Then you had the Neville versus Jack Gallagher. Yeah, it's the cruiserweight stuff. I didn't care. I'm not emotionally involved in that. I just don't care. I was watching it and I was like, all right, this really, like this guy that makes Sheamus look like he has a tan almost. One of them does. And yeah, I just didn't care. Neville won. I was like, yeah. Oh, this doesn't have all the matches on it. Huh. All right, then there's also Rusev versus the Big Show. I'm not sure why they let Big Show win that. I thought Rusev should have won. Rusev came in as this humongous monster. Now he's kind of a joke. Same thing with the Ahmed. I can't remember his guy's name. He's supposed to be like an Indian. He wears his turban. He fought Cesaro, lost. I'm like, just don't like Cesaro. They need to start giving better pushes to. I mean, he's really good, but they just don't. So yeah, I think Rusev should have won, but he didn't. Then you had the whole thing with it's not on here either. The boss. Holy cow, she's one of my favorites on there. I can't remember her name right now. She's like Snoop Dogg's cousin, and she fought. Can't remember her name either. She's a a bigger lady, and Sasha Banks. It's not Eva Marie. No, Eva Marie's the redheaded girl. What was the girl's name? I don't remember. They messed up a few times, and I was like, I don't know if it's that what was going on, but it's certain things that Sasha did, and that the other lady did. They just didn't match up very good. So I don't think that I don't know which messed up, but it just didn't look right. It looked very slow, so I didn't like that. Also, there was the Roman Reigns versus Braun Strowman. I thought that they were trying to push Braun Strowman, but evidently they used him to push Roman Reigns. I don't like Roman Reigns. I really don't. He needs to change his character so much. Just become a bad guy, beat the crap out of bad people, and win. And eventually you can turn to a good guy, but God, it just was not good. I mean, Braun Strowman's a little too green, and Roman Reigns, he's kind of like a John Cena. He doesn't have many moves. He's kind of just blah. Okay, then we had the women's title, which was Bayley versus Charlotte. It's an okay match. Didn't have any complaints. Bayley won. Pretty good. I mean, the whole thing when it was going on, I was like, are they really going to let Charlotte win this and basically let the title basically flipped back and forth a bunch of times like they did between her and Sasha. But I was like, they didn't. They let her win. Great. And if you're a Goldberg fan, this is probably going to offend you. I don't like Bill Goldberg. I've never liked him. I didn't like him as in WCW. I didn't like him when he came to the WWF or the WWE at the time. And then now I don't like him when he's back. As a person, he may be a great person. I don't know. As a wrestler, he's horrible. He sucks. And I was like, I'm like, they're going to have a very quick match. I mean, it's going to have something to do with Chris Jericho, and it's just going to be very quick. Well, they basically had Kevin Owens jump out of the ring and walk around trying to annoy Goldberg. He gets into the ring, tells her, ring the bell, ring the bell, ring the bell. And right before the ref rings the bell, Chris Jericho's music hits. They ring the bell. He looks over. He looks at toward the ramp, sees Chris Jericho, looks back at Goldberg. Goldberg spears him, does the jackhammer, pins him. Wow. That sucked. It really, really sucked. I mean, Goldberg can't really wrestle, in all honesty. I don't think he can. He's too old, and even when he when he was wrestling, he wasn't that good. I mean, if you want to see how the worst match he ever had, look at the match he had with William Regal in WCW. I can't remember when it was, but it was on one of the Nitro shows. Look, if you have WWE Network, look it up on it. It'd be really good quality. If not, look it up on YouTube. It's like I think it was an 8-minute match, and William Regal and Goldberg was lost. It was his first time he ever had a match longer than like 2 minutes, and he was completely lost. He just didn't know what to do. And that's what I'm thinking it is right now. It's going to be another thing. Now, if you want to look at Bill Goldberg's best match, bar none, is Bill Goldberg versus DDP. That was an awesome match. Holy cow. It showed but pretty much DDP or Diamond Dallas Page directed it. It was like, okay, do this, and they planned it out. And if you listen to Diamond Dallas Page's interviews about that, he talks about like when Bill Goldberg is charging toward him, he didn't want to miss the spear, and basically Page jumped up and he went under him. He really does like nail his shoulder or his head on and hurts himself. And like basically when he does the spear to Diamond Dallas Page he's not really going to take the hit. Basically, they says he's like tissue paper. So when he hits him, Bill Goldberg just like flies on through and basically pile drives his head into the mat. So and you can actually see Diamond Dallas Page laugh at that moment. So it's really good. So if you can watch that match, it's one of Bill Goldberg's best. It's actually a match I enjoy watching still yet. But yeah, Fastlane. It'd be lucky to get a C- from me. It was not that good. I just didn't like it. The whole thing with Stephanie McMahon on the phone with Mick Foley and everything, I'm just like, what's the guy who did Wrestling Isn't Wrestling? He said that wrestling is a TV show about a wrestling show. And they're almost taking that to the extreme now, because it's like they're in the back, the cameras are on them, and it's like, oh, they're not acting. Mick Foley has her own speakerphone, and they're acting like it's not, like there's not a camera there, and like they'll be talking and like doing their evil plan, and there's a camera right there, and like it's like nobody hears them or something. I'm like, it takes me out of the realm of disbelief. Let the things, but let you think that somebody said something. If you want to do that, make it to where somebody had a recorder or somebody secretly taped you or some. I mean, TNA started doing that, and I was like, okay, that's kind of cool. I mean, they're a smaller promotion; they can do stuff like that, but it's really hard for WWE. I understand they're trying to make it a mass appeal type thing, but they're it's too much of a. I want to suspend my realm of disbelief. I want to think that these people are really beating the crap out of each other. That's the reason why I don't like the cruiserweights. I know that nobody can do this stuff and survive. That's some of the stuff they do. And it's just crazy. Braun Strowman, he's a strong man. I can see him beating the crap out of somebody. Roman Reigns, a big guy. These two basically having a match where they're just beating the crap out of each other, which is kind of what they did. I mean, that part was good. But the problem is that was they have basically certain. I mean, Braun Strowman especially, he doesn't have a huge move set. So that's what I'm trying. That's one thing they did. They did that I did not like. Braun Strowman got on the top rope and tried to do a splash onto Roman Reigns. I don't want to see a big guy do that. It's not, and maybe it's because I grew up in I watched a lot of the stuff from the '80s and more traditional wrestling back from the '80s, and I remember seeing stuff from the '70s and stuff like that people were recorded, and it's just today's wrestling is very different. And don't get me wrong, it's not bad, but I don't follow it like I used to. Previously, I'd watch it and be like, "Oh my god, oh my god, oh my god." I knew it was fake or predetermined or whatever you want to say, and I knew these guys they were taking risks, but they weren't really hurting each other, or okay, they weren't trying to hurt each other. I mean, when you throw somebody on the ground, regardless if it's in the ring or outside the ring, it's going to hurt. But they weren't sitting there like punching each other and trying to kill each other. They were trying to entertain. So, yeah, that's the one thing I don't like about modern wrestling. It's that nobody ever looks like they're hurt, hardly ever. They call it selling, and like they never sell an injury. You basically start up, and especially a lot of times in the cruiserweights, they do these they do a stunt, and then they do the blah blah, and it's just constant. Like there's a match with Kenny Omega and I can't remember. It's I think it's a New Japan Wrestling, and everybody's like, "Oh my god, it's the greatest match ever!" And I watched it. I was like, "Okay, it's two athletes that are pretty good. I mean, there's nothing wrong with their athleticism, but they basically jumped around and move after move after move after move until one of them won." And it's like, are you guys? I mean, I understand it's supposed to be like they're stronger than the normal man, and they're supposed to be more of this and that, and it didn't seem like anything hurt. If that's, I don't know. It's like you get slammed, and they go, "Ah," and then they get up and do a big giant 14,000 spins in the air type thing. So yeah, I'm just not a big fan of that type of stuff. Like there is something like the luchador style, which is it was a lot of this. I think a lot of it may have come from. If that's what I'm watching, I like it because I know what I'm coming into. But a modern wrestling show, there's very little old style wrestling. Like very few wrestlers work a body part. If that basically like Ric Flair at a match, he'd focus on a leg. That's his entire gimmick was. He'd focus on your leg. He'd kick your leg out from under you. He'd stomp on your leg, drop a knee on your leg, because he's setting you up for the figure four. That was his whole. That is the whole thing about his matches were, and he was good at it. It made you think he was really trying to hurt their leg, so that they couldn't get out of his move. Versus today, a wrestler that wins by submission, they basically go in there and just, it's like, oh my, I hurt, they hit the ring post. Okay, they don't work the shoulder, the one that they just injured, they'll go to the other arm or leg. Or say your finishing move is like the figure four, they won't work a leg, they'll work an arm. I'm like, what? And they'll never put the arm in a submission hold. It's like, okay, I'm wearing down your arm. Okay, here, let me put my hold on you that tries to hurt your legs. I don't know. Sorry, that was just a rant about wrestling. If you're not a wrestling fan, sorry about it. But yeah, that's just it's one of the things that I just literally just now got through watching. But other than that, today I didn't do anything. I basically sat around the house. Oh, I take it back. Me and my family went on a walk today. We had a lot. I really enjoyed that. It was warm. But other than that, today is a good day. I've said it before. Any day I can say I stayed at home, hung out with the family. It's a good day to me. But I hope you guys had a good day. Hope you got out of the house because, well, if it was warm where you were at, I hope you got out of the house. If it was cold, I hope you stayed warm. But anyways, talk to you tomorrow.